Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, going to Ireland, Dustin.
Don't go there often, Mike.
Don't go there often, but for this particular occasion, for the Redbreast 27 Batch 2, we're coming.
It's worth it.
We're coming to Ireland. Pot stills, 3 times maturation. Dustin, you were able to pick up this bottle. Lovely packaging on this Redbreast 27. Again, this is Batch 2.
Middleton does not mess around with packaging.
What can you tell me about this one, Dustin, other than the fact that it's bottled at 53.5% ABV? Wow.
This is the second batch of the Redbreast 27. So if you've seen a lot of reviews of the 27, I don't believe I've seen many of the new batch 2. We are talking Ruby Port is kind of the big cask they list, but I do believe there is sherry, Oloroso sherry, I should say, and bourbon casks involved in these as well. One interesting note I should bring out, Mike. So this is batch 2, and I had a friend of mine who's got a batch 1 send me a picture of the box, the inside of the box, where they give tasting notes, and they didn't make a single change to any tasting note in there.
Is it exactly the same recipe and everything?
I mean, I assume it's the same. Well, again, it dropped a proof, or sorry, a percentage. Sorry, so it dropped maybe 3 proof, and I mean, all casks aren't the same, so I'd be shocked if they were able to perfectly hit those exact same profile notes. So I'm kind of surprised. I feel like somebody didn't want to change the packaging because they made them too many boxes the first time.
Well, single pot still, whiskey spelled with an E.
Yep.
Let's get into it, Dustin. Wow, you smell that Ruby Port right away. Wow, is that a perfumey smell?
You know, Mike, you had the first batch of this, right? You got to sample that, and as did I. So we both got a chance to try that one. And I got to say right off the bat, this just comes off to me like there is more wine finish on this batch 2 than the first batch.
There is very port forward.
Well, that said, I am still getting grapefruit IPA notes.
Grapefruit for sure. I'm not sure I agree with the IPA portion of that.
IPA is often have a grapefruit note. So this reminds me of like one of those like IPAs I don't like because it's just super grapefruity. It's there. There's like a smoked wood.
This is breakfast grapefruit with a sugar on it. Someone cut it in half and I think it's ate 5 of them and thought it was actually good for you.
Agreed.
It wasn't good for you.
No, it's definitely not good for you. But hey, you know, your dentist will thank you.
Yeah.
Because you need some new enamel soon.
It's better than Fruity Pebbles.
That's probably true. Oh man, there is a beautiful, like, again, it's like a slightly smoked, toasted, like oak. I don't know how to describe it.
Juicy, like plum.
Yes. There's a beautiful spiced
like
cake.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And that's the pot still coming through for sure. Mm-hmm. That classic Middleton pot still, like spiced cake, creamy butters and sugars and vanillas and.
Yeah, spiced Christmas cake. Wow.
Yeah. It's just dessert. There's plum and, like you said, raisins, dates, figs.
Oh, anything dark type of fruit with sugar on it.
Oh, yeah, it's cake icing too, vanilla cake icing.
Almost the twins of it. I know this probably isn't an appealing thing to a lot of people, but you ever had mincemeat pie?
I have not actually.
Yeah, they don't make it out of meat or anything anymore. I mean, you can still get it at the grocery store, but my dad always loved it. You know, so there's always like one pie there around like the holiday times that he liked it, and I never ate that compared to like apple or cherry pie or something like that. But the smell of that mincemeat pie is right there, and that's weird because I've never really gotten that smell before ever.
Yeah, I mean, it almost kind of reminds me of like, what's that stupid thing people give around the holidays and nobody ever eats? Like fruit cake.
Fruit cake, yeah.
Yeah, this is actually like a good fruit cake, but like one that cost $30 that my dad used to buy and actually eat. I didn't, but he did.
Yeah. Yeah, Dads would eat some dirty pies.
Yeah, it's got that, but I mean, it's just.
I remember
so jammy too.
I remember a football banquet I had. My dad got it. Everyone's parent brought like a dessert dish, right?
Yeah.
And of course, my dad brings mincemeat pie. And then I remember like when we were leaving, he was like, "Hey, you want to get the rest of that pie?" And I looked at it, and there was one piece out of it, which I knew my dad took. I was like, "No, we're gonna walk right past that mincemeat pie, so no one knows I brought that to the football banquet. We'll just continue on." But yeah, going back to what you said just before, yeah, like there is a jam note to it as well.
Yeah,
jelly,
so much jam and jelly. Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll get when I grill up hamburgers, I'll get like the pretzel buns. and they're kind of salty. So to kind of combat that, what I'll do is I'll put like some strawberry jelly on the top and the bottom. It's pretty good, especially if I do bacon because it's just so much salt with the pretzel bun and with the bacon. Then a little bit of strawberry jelly goes.
I love the fact that Mike doesn't even mention the fact that his burgers always have bacon on them. It's just kind of like it's assumed.
Yeah, usually there's bacon on those things.
As there should be.
Yeah, much meat.
You know,
there's a little bit of that too.
What always throws me off on these older Irish whiskeys, Mike, is pot still inherently has that spice note that I always associate with younger whiskey. But it's not young whiskey notes. It is pot still.
I agree.
And I always have to like separate those notes in my head so I don't start
Thinking it's young whiskey.
Yeah, and because it's not, and you don't. Once you realize that that's a spice that's coming there intentionally, it's a different animal.
Like I said, whiskey with an E, man.
Yeah.
It's a different experience. What are you picking up on the palate, my friend?
So jammy, so fruity. That pot still spices from start to finish. It's assertive, it's aggressive, it's palate destroying. And I told you, Mike, this had to be like the last whiskey we reviewed today because it's just between the intense wine, and I mean it's intense wine. It's
stinging on the
that
sides.
grapefruit's here.
Grapefruit, man, big time. Almost like some type of grape drink.
Yeah.
It's almost like, man, that is aggressive wine cask finish.
Yeah.
You know, it came off aggressive on the nose. It is super aggressive on the palate.
Yeah, it's spicy, it's winey,
Super winey. It's still oaky.
The
That
oak,
wine, though, it's almost like
and
grape.
you know, the oak is beautiful on this thing. The oak is actually, this is some of the best oak we've had today, Mike. We've had some incredible oak
Incredible
today.
whiskeys, yeah. But yeah, I will say it's almost like it's some type of old grape juice. Very grape forward on this particular one. But like kind of we were saying with the nose, I was saying like it was date, it was raisin, it was any type of dark fruit with some sugar on it. It is incredibly dark fruit forward. It's just almost like plum juice.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like something you drink to make yourself feel better.
they got the bottle color dead on.
Yeah,
Like, that is exactly what this bottle.
It almost tastes
should
red.
be. Yeah, it is.
A red crayon.
I'll tell you what though, Mike. If you were looking for a flavor bomb, look no further.
Yeah, I'm glad we did this last. You're right. Even doing Lafroig's Lagavulins and Ardbegs, this was needed to go last.
Yeah, people often say, you know, you do peat last. No, you do super wine finished
Yeah, absolutely.
sherry and port bombs last. This is overpowering everything we've had today, which included a lot of Ardbeg.
Yeah, I tell you what, the grain notes really coming up here now too.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's a beautiful, spicy grain that's complemented by the fruitiness, jamminess, vanillas, and custards. And
Like on some level, it's aggressive, but on some level too, I think dessert whiskey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's I would say three things. It's super wine influenced. It's old, and there's a lot of grain influence to it as well.
so much fruitcake. I don't think I've had fruitcake in, I was single digits, man. So we're talking 30 years ago. But man, it's instantly making me like think back to some of those Christmas type of notes. It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Christmas drink. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
there's almost like a ginger spice here. I don't know that that's the right spice, but so much of that pot still is coming in. I'm thinking like ginger cookies, kind of.
Or almost ginger from like we eat ginger and wasabi when you eat sushi.
Could be, yeah.
Like it is. When you said ginger, it is significantly ginger.
Yeah, I mean, it's super spicy. And I guess, you know, Macallan often talks about ginger notes on some of their heavy,
Sure.
spicier, heavier sherry.
And there are, but not to this extent.
Yeah. And I am starting to pick up a little bit of a chocolate note that makes me think of the Oloroso that I know, I'm pretty sure
Ooh,
that's in
faint.
there.
That's faint.
Oh, it's faint. It's on the finish. It's just kind of like it's a lingering note here. And I wasn't even like thinking about it. I was like, oh, that's chocolate. And I'm like, that's not a port note. That's a sherry port note. So yeah, I mean,
They took this even a stronger direction than the first batch.
yeah, this is heavier, more intense on
This
the
is more
wine.
aggressive.
It's more aggressive, and you know the
The ABV might be lower.
ABV
but man,
dropped a little bit, but
It
I'm
don't
telling
feel
you,
like it.
and you know the price seems to be coming in a little lower on these.
Yeah, what'd you get this for?
Whoa,
Nice
that
price.
was a bit of a bad drop.
Yeah. What'd you get this for?
That's $4.50.
Yeah, that's $400. That's about right.
I saw one for $4.35. I paid $4.50 because I preferred the store I paid. I preferred to pay extra at the store I bought it from.
That's why you need the big mitts.
Yes, and dry mitts.
Grab it on the stem. All right, Dustin, what do you got as far as the whiskey score on this one?
Whew. You know, Mike, I'm an
88 out of 100.
I'm at a 90.
90? Wow, really?
I really am.
It's pungent.
It is, but again, this is one of those things I keep coming back to is I have to separate that I don't love pot stills spice while understanding that that is a very intentional, distinct note that has actually been done exceptionally well here.
The spice is fine with me. The pungent grape and plum note to me is a bit much.
You're not a port fan as much as I am. As you know, I am a big fan of port finished whiskey.
Yes, and I am talking about the port.
But to be honest with you, I don't think I'm not giving this, because I was actually thinking 91 because of how much I like port.
Ooh.
And I couldn't go there because it's not that good. 89, 90 to me is a fair score. I think 88's a little low in my mind, but...
This is one of the most port-forward whiskeys I've ever had.
Oh, absolutely. It is insanely intensely port finished.
Yeah, it's an intense whiskey. And I like intense whiskeys.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that are off-putting here to me.
It's over-the-top port for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be really where this whiskey
draws
lands.
the line with fans.
And I'm a little surprised that Redbreast would choose to put their 27-year, because this is a core release. They're going to release this every year.
Really, 27 every year?
27 every year, and it's going to keep being this port cask finish. I'm a little surprised they went that way for essentially what's become. It's not the dream cask, but this is essentially the core range flagship now over the 21.
21's a good whiskey.
It's really, honest to God, if that was 46% instead of 43.
Well, just so they did what they did with this, is make it over 50. Man, it would be a bombshell.
God, oh my God, the 21 actually I think is actually a better tasting whiskey, a better put together whiskey than this.
I agree.
I think the proof is what really hurts that one.
I agree.
And I think I'd honestly score about the same.
Yeah, about the same. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably
give that an 89.
I'd probably give it an 89 just because I'd go 1 point lower because of the proof
I
difference.
go 1 point higher just because the
yeah.
port's too much for me.
I totally get it.
So that's the thing. I mean, if you're a huge port fan, you're probably going to gravitate to this easily. Mm-hmm. To me, I like port. I'm not a port fanatic. It's a compliment, and to me, there's a lot of it here. A lot of it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the grapefruit note again.
Oh, I get that grapefruit. I get it now.
If I were to score this on my personal enjoyment of the whiskey, I would be a point lower because I don't like grapefruit that much. But I think what they've done here is they have nailed what they were trying to do so well. I got to give it a 90. That's where I'm at.
Well, those are our thoughts. If you guys had a chance to try this batch 2 of the Redbreast 27, let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, Dustin, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.